All right, we have 2 topics for this week. Some of this I've combined with training in general, and then also with safety and altitude training, which is something that I've been kind of curious about because I've visited the Colorado Springs Training Center, and I've firsthand experienced, the difference that difference on your body when you're training in like specifically towards altitude training and training, here in Minnesota. Right off the get-go though, your task for this one, you need to pick 4 of these training considerations that are right here, 4 of those. And then you're going to write 2 to 3 sentences explaining why the 4 considerations you have picked are important. And then I have this safety link that's going to be in this Dropbox actually, so it's in this PDF file, but you won't obviously be able to use it, but that's why it's in the Dropbox. There's a link for that. And then describe some of these to more specific sporting situations or recreational activities. So then you describe it, and then you're going to describe more in detail like where you can apply these safety precautions. So scroll back here. So first, we already talked about it. Always warm up the muscles that you're going to be engaging. So if it's leg day, you should not be doing warm-ups that are arm focused. You should be warming up your legs. You should be doing plyometrics. Nothing that's going to overexert you, obviously, because you need that glycogen to be used towards your lift. Overtraining should be avoided. Overtraining means that making sure that you incorporate your rest days when you need to and appropriately, and you're not using weight that is above your ability. Appropriate clothing and footwear should be worn. So if you're a trail runner, if you like to rock climb, if you like to hike, make sure you're dressing towards the weather or the circumstances, and make sure you have appropriate shoe wear. I'm someone who gets blisters really easily, so if I'm going hiking or if I'm doing recreational sports, I usually have to wear 2 to 3 pairs of socks. So it's just what it is. You just got to prepare. Taping and bracing should be used as necessary. So if you're someone that likes to rock climb, for example, I know there's a lot of rock climbers that like to tape their fingers. Some people have weak ankles. They'll tape their ankles, or they'll wear ankle braces, knee braces, what have you. Just prepare yourself to be most successful and be able to be active safely, because that's the whole point. If you're an athlete or if you're someone that's active, you need to hydrate. So you want to make sure that you're drinking plenty of water, getting your electrolytes in, and you want to be doing what you can to control the controllables, which would be, for example, drinking water throughout the day. Stretches should not be overstretched or bounced, so in your physical ability, you should be stretching not past something that's really uncomfortable. It should be just to the point where you feel the stretch and not to where you can't hold it for very long. Technique should be used correctly. If you're lifting, for example, or if you're rock climbing or doing something completely brand new, make sure you do your research and make sure you talk to professional personal trainers, guides, coaches, what have you. Educate yourself before you jump into it so you have a positive experience. Appropriate rest in between sessions to allow for recovery. So this is talking about like fitness training, for example. If you're doing a HIIT workout, the point of it is to have limited rest, so you're more working your heart and lungs. But if you're lifting heavy, yes, you want to make sure you're having 2 to 3, I'd say, well, I wouldn't go over 2 minutes, I guess. At least 2 minutes or 1:30 to 2 minutes for a rest. Altitude training. So a little Q&A for you. Sorry, this is kind of slow. So what molecules does our muscles need to work during exercise? So big one, oxygen. How is oxygen transported to muscles? If you didn't know from your science classes, it should be red blood cells specifically attached to hemoglobin. And what else does oxygen do for our muscles? It breaks down lactic acid. So it's really important when you're working out to making sure that you're not holding your breath. So what is altitude? If you didn't know, altitude is related to height above sea level. Sea level is known as OM or OM. Some facts. I probably won't be pronouncing some of these names right, so I apologize. Basildon is 31 meters above sea level. Billerice, however you pronounce that, this is 77 above sea level, and Mount Everest is 8,848 meters above sea level. Altitude training. So from this video, what key points can you pick out from the altitude training? What is the main benefit of altitude training? And the extension is this legal? Is there an illegal alternative? This YouTube link, so this is an assignment right here, assignment altitude training right here, assignment 2. This video is attached to the Dropbox, so you'll have to go back into the Dropbox and watch it and then answer these questions. So after you've watched it, summarize what are the effects of the altitude training of the body and why do athletes train at altitude. So this is assignment 3 right here. And from that video, kind of going over the main content, above the sea level, or in general, it's usually over 5,000 m, less oxygen. It's harder to breathe. In my experience, when we played Colorado Springs, it felt like my throat was bleeding, if I'm being completely honest. It hurt so bad, and we only had like a shooting practice beforehand for 30 minutes, so I didn't really get, no one on our team really got experience in it, and honestly, it was really difficult. And we got to see the rest of the training center there, the Olympic Training Center, and there was Michael Phelps was a big one that usually trains there. A lot of the wrestlers on the Olympic teams train there, and especially endurance athletes because it's a little bit more difficult. It creates more blood cells, which I'm sure you learned from the video. Carry more oxygen where there is less. Carry even more oxygen at sea level. More oxygen benefits performance. And more red blood cells equals ability to carry more oxygen so muscles can work for longer. Only lasts about 3 weeks though, so if you go, for example, Colorado Springs for a little bit, then come back here to Minnesota, it's not like a permanent, you have those exact same red blood cells for the remainder of your life. So your assignments again, we have the Let's Summarize page. You have 2 questions. You have the altitude training. And where was it? So there's that one. There's one more. Oh yeah, and then this one. So there's 3 slides where you have your assignment on. And that's why I put this in a video format, so then you can kind of go back and see which assignments that are due and review the questions. So I would also suggest maybe screenshotting, like pausing the video and screenshotting it, and that way you can have all the questions right on your iPad.